And hello, everybody. Welcome once again, Pancreation Philosophy, episode 149. Do another one of these virtual ones here. But virtually, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, all the things. You can find me there. You can also find us on Patreon. That's www.patreon.com/pancreation. Follow. Let's give a shout out to the sponsoring philosophers. We got my buddy Tom Kravitz. Thank you, Tom. We also got my Chinese philanthropist, Big Wang. Thank you, sir. And then we got Turkmenistan's own Rustam Hamamedov. Thank you guys for sponsoring the show. And yeah, thank you to my homie on SoundCloud, Floating Forest, giving us the intro music. And yeah, enough of that stuff out of the way. We'll talk about our guest. Once again, returning guest, Morgan. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Great to see you. Once again, like see you
Personally,
online, seeing the video like from
this is
there.
the life we live in 2020, right?
Oh yeah, no, no, for sure. But yeah. So I guess what's let's see, when is the last time we talked? I think it's been. I think
I came out to the garage.
Yes.
And the last time I knocked on your neighbor's door.
Yes. Don't worry. That happens. I just had another podcast yesterday, and for some reason, the guy was like, "Hey, man, I think I'm here." And I look outside, like, "Nope, once again, not." And then I see he's like down. It's always the neighbor that also has a Prius. Like,
yeah.
They go like, this must be it. Okay,
that's the confusing part. But you guys got a new car, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I saw Bronte's post about how she's pissed at thanks. What's the governor's name?
Inslee.
Yeah. Thanks for not giving us a heads up on this right before I
right before. But yes, no, yeah. Well, it helps too because I sell cars. Oh, nice. Get to plug myself. If you need a vehicle in the greater Seattle area, hit me up. But yeah. That's I guess that's one thing that's new with me. Like that sales job. Apparently, in a pandemic, people still need shit. So. That's what I'm there for. But
it's true. I mean, the housing market, because we were looking at buying a house recently.
Yes, yeah.
It's crazy, and you're like, what? Sure. I thought we were just
that's the exact same thing. Like Bronte and I were looking into getting a house. Oh yeah, business is booming. I'm like, every other bit. Like, interesting.
It's just the small businesses.
Just the small businesses taken. But yeah. Well, exciting stuff. I think looking at getting a house, maybe need some more space or something.
Yes. Yeah, we got a baby on the way, so looking to upgrade. Yeah.
Exciting stuff. Yeah.
It's the size of a lime today.
Okay, of a lime.
Yeah.
I guess okay.
I don't know if it's a big lime or a small lime yet, but that's
you're like, wait a minute, how big these limes are.
I know.
Yeah. So was this like a planned thing or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were married for a little bit over 2 years, and then
yes. Yeah.
I mean, I had baby fever for a while, and then it kind of just felt like the right time eventually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Now you have a lime, and then.
Yeah, now I have a lime. Yeah, it I mean, I don't know. Apparently, my family's got some pretty good genetics because, I don't know if it's TMI, but literally it was 1 month and we were pregnant after trying.
Okay.
So it's a big blessing, honestly, because a lot of people have fertility issues, and it hasn't been an issue, so it's nice to know at least.
Oh no, for sure. That's good. That's good to hear in terms of that. So I know it's funny because like I was saying before, it's like you were here on episode 4 of the podcast, and now we're episode 149, and some things have changed a little bit.
Am I even the same person? I'm not.
No, that's the thing. No, that's kind of what I want to think about. Yeah, could you imagine if we had told the Morgan of episode 4 that, hey, 145 episodes from now you're gonna be a mother.
You're gonna have a lime inside.
Yeah, a lime.
No way. I mean, I was dead set on an MMA career at that point, right? I mean, my life's for me to be living in the South too, I never would have expected that ever. It's just so weird.
Yes.
But I've never been happier, so I don't regret taking my time away. I mean, I think about how hard it is for people in MMA really trying to pursue it during the year 2020.
Oh, for
I
sure.
mean, I don't know if like did the gyms ever open really for you guys?
They open, but now they're shut. Now they're shut down again. I just had another podcast with a gym owner, and they're like there's actually a committee that's looking to see if gyms are actually following that order, and they'll fine them like $10,000 if they're not following. Like, I was like, damn, that's tough to run a business like that. Yeah,
I know, and I feel like it's hard because when you're working out and doing things like that, you're doing it to improve your health. And there's definitely ways to do it like decently safe. I mean, grappling is pretty intimate, and I'm not even sure a mask would make a huge difference. But
no, maybe in helping you like choke somebody out.
yeah, suffocate you quicker.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple things. Just like, I think I'm friends with a few people. Who did you interview?
See, I interviewed Belton Lubas.
Okay, that's why I had a feeling it was him, because I follow him on Facebook, and I've seen him like post about it and talk about it, and even like Travis George. I don't know if his name was a D or G. But they're like really trying to work hard on like seeing how they can stay open and not comply. It's that rebellious fighter attitude.
No, that's
I'm still the dude, my peer Barre.
Barre? You good old Barre.
Yeah, I stopped during the pandemic, but I finally hit my 100 class, and they give you these socks that say like 100 Club. Yeah. I'm like, yes, finally.
Vindication.
Yeah, but that's a much better workout for pregnant women than it is than MMA would have been.
Yeah, I would. I don't know much about that Barre, but I would definitely say, okay. So, is that the situation like in your area? Like the gyms are open, like mainly?
Yeah. Where it seems like, so we didn't have to have like a mask, because in this gym area they like taped off like everyone has 6 feet or whatever.
Okay.
But then starting tomorrow, they now say you have to wear a mask while you're working out. So I think that things are starting to get tighter, but they were able to stay open almost for like the whole duration of most shutdowns, because I don't know what loophole they fell into, but they were able to do it. And then they also did online too, but they make it happen. And I've never even heard of the gym having any kind of issues. I mean, we live in like a smaller town here, so we I don't feel like we have an issue. I've only met one person or two people that have gotten it the whole time. And one of them worked in medical, so she's like constantly going around to like different places. And then the other one was in the Army. So but they don't wear masks. We actually did this like military family day today. It was kind of neat, because like you got to see them like shoot some mortars, and like what my husband does on not really a normal basis, but like kind of a show of it for the little kids. But they're like, everyone make sure you wear your mask. You look around, and not a single person is doing it.
Okay. So I guess what's been on your mind in terms of, your upcoming, like, I guess it's like upcoming motherhood, soon to be motherhood. Like, what's what are your thoughts? Or I guess, a lot of thoughts, but like, what are some of your main thoughts right now?
Well, I'm very curious to find out if it's a boy or girl.
Okay.
My husband really wants a boy, because like he would love to be able to teach our boy child like how to beat someone up at throwing punches from a young age. I mean, if we have a boy, I think he'd be pretty badass. We'll see. I mean, I think there's a high likelihood of that. And then I don't know, I would be okay, sorry for my dog, with having a girl too, because my husband's dad just had a baby, Nora, and she's the cutest little thing. She's like, she was born in March, so they had to like go through the pregnancy and like delivery right when COVID shut down things. But she came and visited, and she's so cute. And our dogs are like loving the baby so much, so we're like, okay, it's a good sign that our dogs are going to be like okay with having a baby around, because that's something kind of to be nervous around. But Our dogs are sweet, so I mean, it doesn't really sound like it when it's barked, but I'm trying to think what else. I mean, it's hard because like it still doesn't necessarily feel super real yet.
Yeah.
I mean, the nausea and stuff like that does. It just sucks, but it doesn't. It's like hard to like really grasp the fact that we're like bringing a human into the world that's made from us. Like, that just blows my mind, and I can't get over it.
Still like trying to wrap your head around that. It's like, oh wow, life, like a new life is about to be created. So
and then we had our first ultrasound, I think it was like 2 weeks ago now.
Okay.
And you could see the thing like move. I was like so caught off guard by that. I just kept saying, that's crazy. Like, that's crazy. That's inside of me. And at 10 weeks, like, to be able to see arms and legs and like a head, I'm like, wow, like those babies grow fast.
Yeah. The lime is growing from there.
The lime is growing. Yeah.
So I guess like when did you, so it's been about 10 weeks, like you said, or?
I'm 12 weeks now.
12 weeks now. Oh, so 10 weeks was when the first ultrasound. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
So so what was your reaction like when you first like found out, I guess like 12 weeks ago? Yeah.
So I swear I knew like the day after. Because I went to go work out and then my body was like super flush and like just totally different than what it had been like, and I was working out like every day beforehand. So I knew that something was different, and then I just kind of kept that to myself. And then what actually made me really think it was like happening was I tracked my heart rate on my Fitbit or whatever.
Yeah.
And then my heart rate grew 10% in 1 week.
Huh. Interesting.
And it never had done that before. It was usually at a standard, like, I can't remember what it was, maybe 150 or something like that. Yeah. And then just to see it, the line just go like this, I was like, okay, something's up. And then I don't know if you remember with my fight against Loopy, when I got that eye infection.
Yeah, you got an eye infection, yes.
Yes, I got that again. That was for the second time. So that's the first time it's ever like came back up.
Yes.
And so what happened is I flew to Boise. I went to a baby shower there and then flew home, and I was just like tired and I could feel my eye getting irritated. But I didn't really think about it because it had been 2 years since my last, like, I don't know if you call it an outbreak or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, it would make sense if you're pregnant because your body's like immune system would be compromised due to like trying to not, my doctor worded it like, your body's trying to not reject a parasite, which is like really weird.
Not reject a parasite.
Yeah.
What did you just call? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, so I kind of knew myself, and I told my husband about that. Well, actually, the day before I left for the trip, I told him, I showed him because I woke up and laughed at my heart rate, and he's like, "What are you laughing about?"
Yeah.
And I showed him. I'm like, "Yeah, I think I'm pregnant." And he's like, "Oh, what?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we didn't expect it to happen so fast, like, honestly. So, and then when I came back, I took the pregnancy test, and we're like, okay, yeah, you're definitely pregnant. So.
Yeah. Okay. And then.
Yeah.
So,
a couple weeks later, like food aversions.
Food aversions.
Pacholo, you would be miserable with food aversions. You would hate it so much.
Well, yeah, you've seen how I am. I'm a pig, so yeah.
You can eat, and I usually can too. And just sometimes it's like my favorite foods just are like repulsive. Like I don't want anything. I'll start to chew it, and I'm like, I can't swallow it. It's like, it's so weird. I've never experienced that before in my life.
Yeah. Interesting. And is there like, what do you know, like what the reasoning for that is, or is it just something that occurs? Yeah. I
don't think they really have figured it out yet.
But it just happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Most women get it, food aversions, the nausea or whatever. But I don't think they've really like figured out why it happens. I've heard theories that it's like your, like a biological response to avoid food that could harm the baby, like listeria or something like that. Because I mean, conveniently, it's all leafy green vegetables and like good things, like vegetables that are good for you that
Yeah.
I'm like, can't touch them. I need
Nope,
potato
these are
chips.
bad. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it makes me mad, and my husband always makes fun of me for this, because before I got pregnant, I was like, I'm gonna definitely eat healthy when I'm pregnant. Like, that's the time to like be eating nutrient dense foods. And then it's just like, I look at it, I bought so many salads and they just go to waste because I can't eat them.
Oh, that's funny.
So,
Okay.
any males are out there listening and have a baby on the way or wanting to have babies,
Yeah.
you gotta be prepared to have your wife or girlfriend or go through that.
Okay. So that kind of like physical change, I guess, like, how's the I mean, we kind of already mentioned, like, you getting ready, like, to be a mother. I guess, have you thought about like any shifts in, I guess, like, mentally? Because now, I mean, because you take care of yourself, you take care of the dogs. Like, have you thought about, okay, how's your life gonna change? Have you thought about that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard because, like, before you have a baby, everyone tells you this, like, you think you're going to have time. And they're like, once you get to it, you're not. But some of me, like, part of me wants to fight that and be like, no, I'll have time. Because, like, with work, I told work already. And, they obviously, like, want to know, like, how long you plan to be gone for. Are you going to do 2 months or, like, 3? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sure I'll be back in 2 months, or and we'll see what the reality of it is. I mean, I work from home, and I like to work, so I don't know if I'm gonna it's gonna be hard for me to step away, or if it's gonna be like I can't even think about going back to work. So we'll see. That's one thing. And the other thing, I actually just finished this like financial class or program called Factora, and I think it's just for women right now, but it's a really cool program to teach women how to become millionaires per se, or just teach them like how to understand finances and the different ways to create passive income and things like that. So that's been a big thing, because I want to be able to set our child up with either investment accounts or education, savings, things like that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to get our budget under handle to save for baby expenses, diapers.
That's well, you always hear about that, like, oh yeah, once you get a child, like, oh, now all the variables change in that kind of regard. So it's the thing is, like, you can, like, I guess, attempt to prepare for it, but then, like, once it happens, like, oh well, this is it.
And it's gonna be interesting, because most people live by their families, and we don't have any like real family support, and they always say like it takes a village to raise a kid. We're like, all right, well, we got the 2 of us and 2 dogs, so
dogs gotta pull your weight.
I know, they're gonna have to start feeding themselves or something. So that will be interesting. My parents are really excited though. I'm sure they'll come visit at some point. It's just like, I mean, who knows what it's going to be like June of next year. I mean, hopefully, the summertime, it seems like with COVID, regardless, it would be less of an issue. So that'll be fun. And my mom's a teacher, so she'll be off during the summer, so I'm sure she'll come spend some time. So that's why I'm like, I need a place for them to be able to stay with us instead of like at a hotel, because it's not super useful.
No, and once again, now we're talking about, all like baby preparation, when it's funny because, like, what we were talking like 2 years ago, talking about like fight preparation, and now, like, oh man, what a time shift. I think
one of us froze.
Yeah.
Your face is like.
I was like, just like turning like from there. But yes, I know. But yeah, what a change. So
I know. I think about that. It's like a new. I mean, my body's going through like a 9-month fight camp right now. Like,
9-month fight camp,
with a totally different outcome.
Period.
Instead of like destroying myself. Well, it kind of is. Like, at the end of the day, like, I'm getting birth is gonna
Yeah.
be one kind of effort. Very
Yeah.
painful, like a fight.
Yeah. It's like reverting resources for this engagement here, I guess.
Yeah. It's been interesting to see though, like the careers of other women that were like growing up locally. Because I don't know if you keep up with Loopy, but she just won the LFA belt.
Oh, I think I've seen something like that, but okay, so yeah. Okay. And I haven't really looked. I know I think I saw because like I think Miranda Granger fought like recently. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I think she lost.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Because she fought in
Oh,
the
who
UFC.
was it? She fought like a pretty decent, like higher name,
Yeah,
Rhonda.
like no, I think it was like Ashley Yoder is who she
Yeah,
fought.
yeah.
And then
yeah, did you watch that fight?
No, not really. I think I just saw like some snippets of it. Yeah, did you watch it?
We did watch it, and I was just like, I've seen her perform better in the way that like she just seemed kind of nonchalant and not like super like she wanted it.
Yeah.
I mean, because she has great skills and stuff, but I've seen her fight where she's like tenacious and things like that, but I just didn't see that. And maybe, there's always outside factors, especially this year, but I was just curious what your opinion was on it.
Yeah, about watching it. Yeah, no, I just saw like I guess I think I just saw like a few highlights of it, so I didn't see like the fight in its entirety. But yeah, I just saw like some grappling exchanges that didn't quite go her way, like from there. So yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, it's interesting too. Like just training and fighting, or attempting to train and fight in these times. I don't know how that goes.
Yeah, I give props to all the MMA fighters that have been doing it throughout this whole time, and like your training camps have to be different. I mean, you're fighting with nobody watching, basically in a quiet stadium. Like that has to be so different for them. But I mean, I'm glad because it's really cool that we've had some entertainment that's like political free for the most part. Like UFC's kind of been like just here for fights, and I like that about it.
Yeah, that's no, yeah, because I'm still thinking like, oh yeah, like thinking about fights, like preparation beforehand, and then I guess well I know like for you, like you do like a lot of research, or like I'm just laughing at you preparing all these salads and now not eating them. Yeah,
I know.
Going to Scott McDonald route. Yeah,
the opposite problem in training camps, like wanting to eat everything and not be able to eat anything. But I mean, I guess I would have to eat salads. And now I'm like, no more salads.
No salad.
I'm hoping that comes back though, because I really do believe in like a nutrient dense pregnancy diet. I just need my stomach to agree. Even drinking water is hard.
Really?
I hate that. Yes.
Okay. Like, is it hard to keep it down, or the taste, or what's up? Yeah.
It's just like I look at it and it's like repulsive. It's weird.
That's how Bronte looks at water.
I think it's because like at week 8 or 9, I kept throwing up in the mornings because I was drinking water before eating anything. So it took me a couple of days to like figure that out. But once I did, but then it's still like, once you have a bad taste from something like that while you're pregnant, like you just don't want it. Like, at least I think that's how it goes through the first trimester. I'm really hoping the second one is a little different.
Yeah.
Were you and Bronte supposed to get married this year?
We were supposed to get married this year.
Aww.
Yeah.
So what did you guys decide to do? Are you just pushing it back to next year?
Yeah, we decided to push it back to next year, but who knows how different they'll be like from there. But yeah, it was supposed to be this year. But oh well, man. Like how it goes. Like stuff happens. We couldn't have predicted this, and it's life goes on like from there. Yeah.
Have you been doing a lot of garage training?
Yes, I've been doing a lot of solo drills, Morgan, by myself in my garage. But yeah, that's
AMC flow drill.
Yeah,
solo.
Yeah, AMC flow drill, like solo. I imagined if opponent was there, but yeah, kind of like Max Holloway, just a Zoom training, Just. But,
is he doing that?
No, I think he said he was, and then he fought like Volkanovski and then looked great. And I was like, I don't think he was Zoom training. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, those high level fighters, I mean, they're basically doing personal training at their gyms. Like,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, they got a key. Like,
yeah, exactly. But
did
yeah, it's good
AMC
training.
ever like actually open up their
It,
new location?
yeah, so the sports club, because it's part of a like it's part of like a yeah, it's part of a
Mm-hmm.
sports club, like a gym, like from there. So when they opened that, like, what's it called? I forget, like some like limited capacity, but now in the shutdown it all closed off again,
Oh,
like from there. But even when it was open, like the matted areas, I mean, not that grappling would have happened anyway, but like the striking area was like open. It was like essentially like a dance studio kind of heavy
oh.
bag like kind of situation, like from there. But yeah, just like, yeah,
So were
just
you
different
guys
times.
doing
Yeah,
classes then, or not really?
not really. They were more like 5 person, like heavy bag,
Wow,
like drills kind of thing. Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, kind of,
For
yeah,
like a
kind of
whole
apart.
year.
Hmm.
Well, less than that because you weren't even like gyms weren't even open for probably the majority of the year,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it wasn't really open until like around, I'd say, yeah, probably like the summertime, like July or something was probably when like those kind of instruction was happening. But yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's
Is
a different kind of
DJ
thing.
getting ready for a fight
I know.
or
I think,
anything?
yeah, DJ is getting ready for fights. I know that
Oh, nice.
he's like, yeah, I'm not, because I know one is having fights right now, but
Mhm.
I don't. Yeah, because he's supposed to fight. DJ's supposed to fight Adriano Moraes, but we'll see it like when there's no date, I believe, set, or maybe like if there is one, it's not quite set yet. Like from there,
Gotcha.
because I think they have to deal with like visas and everything. Because I think Moraes is
Travel
like
restrictions.
exact travel restriction. Because I think Moraes is a Brazilian, and that DJ is
Oh,
American, and now I think because only people I've seen in one fight have been Asian fighters or fighters that live in Asian. They just had to, like, they have to travel like there.
it's
Yeah.
so weird to me that like Asian countries are like not having an issue. Like I have some people I met when I was training in Singapore,
Mm-hmm.
and I just kind of like stayed Facebook friends with them, and they're like just training like normal, and people's lives like seem like normal. I mean, they weren't wearing masks and stuff like that, so
Yeah.
just like
No, yeah. Especially, I feel like,
wild.
it is what I think, it's particularly in, at least in like country like Singapore or something like that. It's been like, it seems that way, but I know that in the Philippines, because I saw like relatives there, they're still
Hmm.
on lockdown, and unfortunately
Are
they all,
they?
yeah, they're still, well, unfortunately we had like a typhoon like
Oh,
hit the city, like that, like my grandma's house like flooded, so yeah, that wasn't that great,
oh
but yeah,
man,
yeah.
just keep getting hit harder with
No, just
2020.
boom, 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 boom. Yeah, from there. But yeah,
Wow. That I mean, how does like that's so crazy if you think about like I feel like in the Philippines a lot of people have like their small business market gigs
yes,
and stuff like that and those
yeah.
aren't open or
Those that yeah, that's I think they are, but it's like, well, with our president, he's kind of like there's like a curfew kind of thing like
uh
there. So I guess I should talk to like some of my cousins about how things are going, because I know they had like a small like cookie baking business. So I'm not sure like how they're doing deliveries and stuff like that. But I think they're probably just still in the state of, because I think it was about a week or two ago when the typhoon hit, and then you know like everything got flooded, and you can see like in my hometown there's like boats, like people like are using boats to rescue each other, like from there,
oh
because yeah,
my gosh,
because my hometown is like right near a river, so like if there's like a constant like storm, that river is gonna flood, and
flood.
yeah, that's just how it goes. Yeah,
Oh, that's so wild. I mean, that's
yeah,
just a completely different world. I
exactly.
feel like I mean, I've never been there, but just even going to Singapore and seeing how differently Asian countries
Yes.
truly are in comparison to America.
Yeah.
I mean, and Singapore is like super wealthy country, but like
Yes.
once you went kind of further out, you could just see like it's so. I mean, they live in like population dense areas, well, at
Yeah.
least in the cities, I guess. I'm sure there's rural areas out there, but just the quality of life that we take for granted here in America is crazy.
Oh no, it's different for sure. Like, wait, hot water? That's just
Yeah.
around indoor plumbing. Yeah, just kind of different in that regards. But yeah, what is so I guess like okay, so now I guess we'll shift back to to the questions what's one thing that so now you're 12 weeks into this pregnancy, like what's one thing that that you would tell yourself like beforehand, like, oh man, maybe not get so many salads, or like what's one thing you think you would tell yourself like before
Why would
beginning this? Yeah.
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
I feel like I would say, like, don't be so confident in your ability to eat healthy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but at the same time, if I didn't go in with the mentality, like, I'll try, then maybe I wouldn't have tried to, like, eat healthy in the first place. Because,
That's
like,
true, because who's to know? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, and it's different for everybody, and most women, like, even different pregnancies and stuff like that. I don't know what else I would change.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe just being more mentally prepared for the nausea in the morning sickness, because I really told myself, like, oh, you're not gonna get it, like you'll be
nausea.
fine.
Or
Yeah,
what?
no, that's not gonna happen to you. I definitely felt that way. I mean, I didn't get it bad, because I feel like I really tried prior to getting pregnant for the first couple months to eat really healthy, and that as a way is like preparing your body for the nutrients that you could lose during your first trimester, or it just makes your body more able to build a baby, I guess.
Yeah, like preparing, get the resources for that. Yeah.
I got this book called Real Food for Pregnancy by Lily Nichols. And it's just crazy because she has like so many cited resources that like the American dietary standards like are just so far behind anything that happens in nutrition.
Yeah.
You know, like it doesn't make sense to someone who actually is like researched even a little bit into nutrition. But it was just really interesting to see how certain nutrient deficiencies in women and the effect it can have on like the child, and just like motor skills, coordination, just little skills like that. They can literally trace it to certain like vitamin D deficiencies or things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Huh, that's some fascinating stuff. Yeah, I never considered that, but I mean, it is pretty well known that I know. I think all you need to do is look at like a little bit into nutrition and just see like, oh wow, this nutritional guidelines that we grew up with, or like taught. I'm like, this is very outdated. Yeah.
Like I remember when the food period was like, oh, the bottom part was like carbs, grains.
Yeah.
That should be your main source.
You need a lot of stuff. Yeah.
It's literally the opposite now.
Yes.
Like
it's like
get
flipped
your
on its
meat and
head.
protein and have a little bit of grains and carbs.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you follow or have you heard of Genius Life by Max Lugavere?
I don't think I have. What is that?
So he has a couple books, but it's just really interesting to see that there are direct ties between Alzheimer's and the low like carb diets improve Alzheimer's.
Oh,
or the
actually,
effects of Alzheimer's.
I have heard of studies like that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a tons of books out there about the like effect food has on your brain and things like that. I mean, I think once people really start to, I mean, I've been really interested.
Yeah.
I keep trying to say nutrition after, and I was like combining them.
Yeah.
Interested in nutrition for a long time, so it's been something I've read a lot on, and just like with my own body experience. Lost you for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
we
had this similar thing, but you're back. So anyway, let's just say, so you've been interested in nutrition for a long time, and you've looked into like nutrition for your own self, like from there. Yes.
Yeah. And that was like the one thing I was like really interested in prior to getting pregnant too. So just kind of flowed in. But I was just saying that if you think about like what a donut in the morning does to you, and if you really take notes of like you feel like scatterbrained or like your energy is just like crashing up and highs and lows. And I used to do that, like working at an office. It's hard when you see a donut in there
Ooh,
and you're
fresh
like,
donuts
oh,
in the kitchen. Ooh.
I know. And it was interesting. You could see that there were younger people that would go for the donuts, and the majority of the older crowd or certain kinds of like older professionals would avoid them and stick to that, because I think at some point everybody learns how like it affects your brain. And
yeah.
So I don't know, just a kind of a random tangent on a thing. But the one thing that's been really nice about this pregnancy is I've lost my sweet tooth.
Oh, wow.
I know.
So actually
it's
food
crazy.
aversion working in your favor. Yeah.
For once, yeah. I'm like, I'll take it.
Once.
Like,
yeah.
Because I think last week, I'm not sure if it's still the case this week, but I weighed less than when I did my pre-pregnancy weight. And I think that's because I was eating like a cookie or two at night.
Just one. Well, I ate one already, so.
It's hard because I found this recipe that I really like, and I tried to make it healthier with using like coconut sugar versus like refined sugars. And I mean, it's minorly healthier, but it's been good to be avoiding that stuff.
No, that is good. Hey, maybe not eating the salads, but hey, at least you're not eating the sweets. So that's good.
True.
It's a tit for tat and that kind of way. Okay.
Just been chips lately.
So
that makes me feel good. Yeah.
Oh no, I definitely remember. Well, yeah, I know, because we've weight cutted before, and I would just kill like a bag of chips like afterwards and think of like, is this a good idea? Well, too late. I'm eating it already.
I remember, I think I was talking to my husband about this.
Yeah.
I can't remember when we were talking about it, but the last time I cut weight.
Yes.
Because he lost like 12 pounds just like in his bathtub one time when he cut weight.
Yeah, when he cut weight, yeah.
And he was drinking like whiskey the day before, like just no proximity. Like
I wish I could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was the complete opposite. Like watch every little thing, diet thing, whatever. Yeah. He didn't have that issue, but I was talking about it. I was like, yeah, Patrol passed out.
Yeah. I passed out, woke up, I'm like, well, gotta finish it, and then we just went about it. Yeah.
I remember you like hit a trash, so you didn't like completely fall. But Joel and I just looked at each other like, should we let him continue or what? And you're like, I'm good. What? Nothing happened.
Yeah. What are you guys talking about? All right, let's get this weight. oh
you made weight though, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And actually, if anything other than that, it wasn't, because I remember it was you. Wasn't it you, me, and like Ryan Kim? Like, or was it?
Wasn't James
Jacob? No, I think it was Jacob. Jacob was, wasn't he? I forget.
It was a lot of people.
Yeah, because it was a few of us. It was a few of us on that card. Yeah, because it was like you, me, I believe Jacob and James were also on that card. Maybe even Ryan. But yeah, like from there. But
was that the December or June fight?
That was June, because I remember that was when because we had done the photo shoot before that week. Remember? And that was the fight when I destroyed the trophy. Oh man. Yeah, jeez.
Good times.
The
my last fight. Who would have known? Yeah. I think I knew.
Did you? Yeah, because I think you kind of had an inkling, because I remember we had talked about it like beforehand, and then I think because we were talking about like sacrifices or something along those lines, and then I think I was talking because I think I just passed out. I'm like, well, clearly Morgan, this is not on my mind, like from there, and then.
I was definitely getting burned out at that point. Yes. And it was hard because I fought it for a long time. Like, I felt like more so like I should be doing this, because I would get hit up
to do this.
I would go to a gym, and then people are like, oh my god, we got to get you in a fight. Like even when I lived in Georgia, and then when I went to a gym here, we got to get you a fight, blah blah blah. And then that kind of just like, and then for me, it was like I'm either all the way in it, like wanting to go pro, or I'm just not. But it it took me like probably, I don't know, 6 months to a year to really get over it. I mean, because then I would get hit up by like a promoter or manager for a professional organization or something like that. They're like, "Oh, are you still fighting?" And I'm like, "I'm not fighting currently, but what are you asking about?
What's happening?" Yeah.
Yeah. But now I don't think about it. It's weird. Like, I have nightmares about softball, but not any about MMA.
Huh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess let's break that down. So when you have nightmares about softball, like what's happening? Like,
I'm just being a failure in it. Like, because that was my thing with softball. Is like, I felt like my mentality caused me to like fail more than maybe if I had a better mentality. And I just kind of left that sport on like a sore
point.
Spot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it haunts me. It's always like high school ball, like my old high school coaches and things like that come up. And then it's like, I've woken up crying. Like, I don't know why, because I've been like 4 years at least since I played on a team. And kind of like, I didn't like it. So I don't know why.
Who knows why that's haunting you more. Yeah.
And it's weird. I sometimes have dreams that I'm pregnant, and sometimes I don't.
How interesting. And this is while you are pregnant?
Yeah.
Huh, interesting. Okay.
Like, there's a time when I was paranoid that I had a miscarriage because I wasn't, like, for the first couple of weeks after finding out I was dreaming. Like, I was pregnant, and I knew I was pregnant. But then there was a period of time when I wasn't. I was like, is my body telling me that I'm not pregnant anymore?
Yeah. Oh man,
But I have crazy dreams all the time. Like, I wake up and tell my husband, he's like, what the hell is going on in your head? Like, I'll have random army dreams. Like,
I don't know if that's like, I don't know if that's like a gender thing. Cause I know Bronte has like a bunch of vivid dreams. Yeah. Oh, do you dream? I'm like, nope. No thoughts going on in his head.
I sleep and I wake up.
I like, I mean, I can sleep in the sauna. It's happened.
But you're right to sleep in the sauna.
Yeah, boom. But that is interesting. I think dreams are an interesting state because it's kind of like because that's kind of like your unconscious mind and like what's what's going on around it, like from there. So
I know they trip me out.
Interesting. Yeah.
For that reason. Mm-hmm. I'm like, just have it, because people are like, oh, you're supposed to analyze your dreams. Maybe there's hidden symbols in there. But I'm like, there's no reason this should be related to my life in any way at all.
Sometimes there's just no rhyme or reason. I think it's kind of like emotions, because emotions will sometimes come and hit you. Like, man, why am I feeling sad, or why am I feeling like that way? It just kind of happens. So I guess it depends how much weight you put on it.
I don't think I've been too emotional being pregnant. I mean, you guys say husband, but maybe like slightly more sensitive. But I've heard a lot of women just like cry all the time. And maybe that will be more me like later into my pregnancy. But I think I've done pretty well so far. The hormones are crazy during this time. Just another little side note. Do you think that you and Bronte would ever want to have kids together?
No, we're thinking within like probably a couple of years or so. But it's like and then because I know we're looking at that kind of timeline. But in terms of that, and that's the thing too. That's why I'm asking, because I think, well, one, I don't have to do anything, but in terms of it's like it's kind of like that thinking about, oh wow, like the prospect of like raising a child has like, come on my mind, like, oh man, what do I do? I'm responsible now for a life. Like,
so how do you feel about it? Like, what would make you, like, what do you think about like raising a kid? Like, what makes you nervous, or like?
I think the biggest thing, the biggest thing for me is just it's just being comfortable now that, now I have a complete beginner at life I'm responsible for. So how do I get them to become competent, like on their own, is the key for me. because I think so much, well, especially just from like a coaching aspect and like coaching like other people, one thing, like if I'm teaching somebody, is that they they have to learn it on their own. Like even though I can teach them a concept, like at the end of the day, like they're the ones that are gonna, they gotta make that concept into them, like
Mm-hmm.
from there. So I don't know if that like prepares me more or prepares me less, but it's just a matter of like understanding. Especially, it's like, oh, I'm not teaching someone how to punch or kick. I'm teaching someone how to live their life. So, man, what am I going to teach them in that kind of regard?
Right. And it's
So,
like, what life lessons did I learn in my life that I could pass down without having to like have my child go and make those mistakes or something
yeah,
like that? Or is it like you literally have to run into those mistakes to learn those lessons? Or is there
yeah.
like a happy medium? Or
I know. I would hope there's a happy medium, but really, I'm kind of relinquished to the thought, like, hey, sometimes they just gotta mess up on their own for them to figure it out. It's like the really hot pan like trick. Like they don't know how hot the pan is until they touch it and
you
get
warn
burned.
them, it's gonna
Yeah,
be hot.
it's
You're
gonna be
gonna get
hot.
burned.
All right, whatever, Dad.
I mean, I definitely did that. I burned these 3 fingers touching
Yeah,
the like an iron. I
yeah,
touched them
an
like that,
iron.
and I
Yeah,
just
like yeah, that's
stupid.
hot. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're like your dad or your parents?
Yes, I think especially like seeing how my dad is now. Well, not even seeing. I don't think it's a matter of like seeing how my dad is now. It's like understanding how I am now, and like, oh man, I'm pretty much like, why the hell's this thermostat on? And then just like, and I was like, oh my god, I've pretty much just become, I've just become my father. Like
Right?
from
It's
there,
like the
but
older you get, the more you feel like you're your parents. And it's just
yes,
like,
yeah.
how did this happen?
But and I think, oh, how did this happen? But I'm like, of course it would happen. That's like my
Yeah.
that's my biggest influence in that kind of way. But like, I mean, my dad, I have a great relationship with my dad in terms of that. So I don't like that's not a bad thing for me. So
Mhm.
I think if
Mhm.
anything, I'll just like alter it like slightly, just in terms, because we've lived like because so my dad had to deal with the fact that he had a child that was now living in like two different kind of cultures, both
Mhm.
like a Filipino and American culture, which is like an issue that he never had to deal with, and that kind of, because he had lived from just like the Filipino like culture from
Mhm.
there. And then even more so, like I feel like for me, and then like whatever children like Bronte and I will have, is like, oh, now this child's gonna have to navigate being multicultural, like and like literally in that kind of sense. So it's
Mhm.
like, oh, how are they gonna navigate through that, like from there? So it's like kind of curious, like okay, like it's an evolving kind of problem, like from there.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Yeah,
It's gonna be cute to see a Bronte Pachola maybe.
yeah.
They're definitely gonna look more like you than Bronte, I feel like.
I think.
Just because tan skin and stuff like that, typically babies.
Oh no, for sure. It's funny because like Bronte and I, like Bronte is just like she's like a whole bunch of recessive genes. Like she has like red hair, blue eyes, and like
Mhm.
I'm nothing but like a bunch of like dominant genes with like the dark skin, the dark hair, like and yeah, from there. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, and yeah, no, it's funny. It's funny for sure. I'm just thinking. I think that's the thing, kind of like what you're talking about. Oh wow, I'm responsible for a life. Like what am I gonna do? Like
Mhm.
how about for you? Like I mean, because we're talking about like actual things like you like diet and such, but like what's your thought process in terms of like raising like raising you either young raising your young child? Like what's the what's your thought process for that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you. I have a really good relationship with my parents. I think I'm definitely different than my mom in some ways, and
Yeah.
I mean that's typical, right? You're your
Yeah.
own person, and you
Yeah.
make your decisions and stuff like that. Um, but I feel like the way I grew up, I was given like such a path of life, because like I feel like for me and all my siblings, my parents, we always saw that they worked hard and that they made
Yes.
sacrifices, and
Yeah.
that they taught us how to be good people. But I
Yeah.
don't remember ever them telling us like how to be good people. I don't know if it's just their own virtue or something like that. So that's going to be interesting to figure out as a parent, like, how do you teach lessons, or is it just like leading by example, or like stories, or what you're exposed to? You know, I feel like I have to like figure that out and really maybe read some parenting books. I don't know.
No, for sure. Like, I definitely thought about that, because it's like, I don't know, I think the number one thing of being a parent is like, man, I really hope I don't mess this kid up, like from here. But that's the thing. Yeah, how do you teach? Like, how do you teach being a good person? It's like, is it like outwardly stated, and then like, okay, what is going to develop their values on like what's good, like. Because
I mean, my husband had great parents too, but he was like a troubled boy, like just doing boy stuff, starting fights in streets, and
I think that's just troubled boy stuff.
Right. But I'm like, how do you, like, I mean, I would prefer a child not get into so much trouble maybe, but like, can you really prevent that? And my husband turned out great, so at the end of the day, was it beneficial for boys to like go through that? I mean, it's common, right?
Ooh, yeah, no, that's the thing too, because given my background, like, man, I've gotten to like a lot of trouble. It's like, man, I was like, oh, I'm probably gonna have like whatever child that comes, like, probably gonna get into like a lot of trouble too. So like, how are they gonna navigate through that?
Oh yeah, if we have a boy, they're gonna get in fights. Like, I feel like, especially if they are taught how to fight and protect themselves, and okay from parents to be like, if someone's bullying you, you have the right to like hit them, like, honestly, or teach them a lesson, but like, how do you teach them the barrier where it's like, hey, but we want to avoid jail, and things like that.
Jail bad. Yes.
Like, it's like, and like, I don't know, you just kind of wonder how much of it is in your control. I mean, I know being a parent, like, I think it changes through the stages. I mean, you can provide your kid with so many either tools or boundaries or like ways to communicate. But one of the big things that's come up for us recently in conversation is religion, and like, because neither of us are like religious, but I sometimes enjoy going to church because the way that it feels like uplifting, and the music's good and stuff like that. And we were just having this conversation the other night about, like, I was like, well, I don't know, it could be a good thing to bring up a kid through church and so they can learn good morals. And my husband's like, I don't think you have to be brought up through church to have good morals. I know tons of Christian people or religious people that don't live by the virtue that they preach about. So I thought that was like, I hadn't really thought about that, because that's another thing, like,
for sure. Oh, side note, that's how I found, like, because I went through like a church like camp, and that's how I got into like a bunch of street fights. So
right.
And that's the thing. I was like, man, that really didn't help me for that. But I mean, it did, but not in the way that my parents probably intended.
It prepared you for your MMA career.
Yeah, it was a good launching point to my MMA/podcast career, for sure, in talking about that. But I know that's true. That's because I know I'm not particularly, I'm not religious, like, at all. If anything, that's kind of like given my past experiences in terms of that. But it's not like I look at religion necessarily as a bad thing. I can see definitely what you're saying too, is like there's some good tenets and good like community kind of thing. But I don't think it's quite necessary, or that you have to have that fact. And clearly that could be used also for other things, as like my teenage self did. But
I mean, there's always like the stereotypes that like Catholic kids are secretly crazy partiers on the side and stuff like that. So it's like,
as a Catholic kid,
God teaching actually make you more virtuous or nicer or any kind of person. And like, I don't know, you just go kind of back to, I mean, I definitely want to get them involved in jiu-jitsu, like, as soon as I can, or as soon as they're old enough, just because I think the lessons you learn in that are so much more valuable in life than
for sure,
other programs and sports and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that would be exciting because I think like it'll be fun for me to even go back and train a little bit as an
Yeah.
adult because it's cool to see like parents and then their adults. I
Yeah.
mean,
Parents and their
parents and then
kids and their
their
kids.
kids
Yes. Yes.
training.
Yeah.
Because I do miss it. Like I enjoyed it. Did I tell you I got my blue belt? I don't
Yes.
remember if I did. I come on the podcast
They came
after
with a come
that.
back and
Yeah.
told me you took your blue belt. Like, all right, I'll see you guys never. Yeah, peace. Yeah, no, yeah, we did. That was with the last. Yeah, you'll
I
be
know.
that.
I need to give away my gi because
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm not gonna
yeah,
do
yeah.
this.
You'll be like that missing blue belt that came back.
I know, and that's even more embarrassing to be like, oh, I got my blue belt, and then came back a year later,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, I can't go back to that gym.
You'll never see me again.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No, and that's another thing too I think about too is like, oh yeah, what activities am I going to put like my child like into like from there. I mean, you know me, I love practical jokes, so like one thing about me is I plan on like never telling them about my fighting career or having them like try to figure that out like on their own, like because I just
This is
love
the longest long-standing joke of
yeah
their whole life.
yeah
Like,
oh for sure. Yeah.
Or you can just like super exaggerate it, and they're like, "Oh wait,
Yeah.
you actually like did that?"
Yeah,
like,
yeah. No, I
I don't
plan
know
on.
what to believe.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think I plan on like so. My current plan is just to like be. I don't construct like, oh, what did you do in your spare time? Like before, Dad? Oh, me? I was a jazz musician. Like, bro, yeah, they called me Duke Silver, and me and the saxophone. Like, man,
They're
Dad
gonna
goes
get
to
your sense of
saxophone
humor.
practice. What's that?
Yeah, they're gonna get your sense of humor for sure.
Well, yeah. And then just like, wait, Dad was never a jazz musician? What the hell? But yeah, that's like,
Yeah, you're like, yeah, I used to do it in this cage where there's a light above.
yeah,
It's sometimes dangerous.
yeah, yeah. No, because I realized, well, speaking about, if I'm my dad, like talking, or I guess like now, because when you're younger, you don't really care about what your parents like, and they're kind of just like entities in your life, and then, but now as you get older, you're like, oh wow, yeah, they are people. They got stories. They got like they had a life before before they had me, like from there, and I hear about all the crazy like tales of that and adventures that my dad got into like with his friends, and then seeing like, oh yeah, of course like that would be like no wonder I ended up like the way I did, given like how he was like from there. So
same with my parents.
Yeah.
They were never open like about telling stories about
about themselves
or
their younger lives. Yeah.
So it's kind of like little stories come out over time. Like I don't even know how they got married, like or their story. Like there comes a point where they like moved to Texas together at some point, and that's where I've heard some things. But like some of the stories I've heard of my dad, I'm like, it kind of makes sense. Like, you know how they say you kind of like fall in love most of the time with like something that's kind of representative of like your parent, like your dad or your mom or something like that. And I can see some similarities between my dad and Trevor that I didn't like quite realize before. I mean, because Trevor was crazy and so was my dad when they were kids. But then they grew up to be really responsible, and I feel like that's why I know with Trevor that he'll be like such a good dad. So I'm very excited to see that. It's really cute because we talk about it all the time. I can see him being a dad more than I can see myself being a mom, though. If that's weird.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I guess what makes you say that? Like why? Like what about being a mom? Can you not see yourself? Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because like I'm thinking about it like visually, like I can see him like holding a baby or something like that, versus like you don't really see yourself.
Yeah, it's easy to see, and I think that's the same thing. It's easy to see like other people through like, because especially if it's like it's someone that really personally, like from there, because you can see you see them. Well, if anything, you see them more than they see themselves, like from there.
Yeah, it's true. But the one thing that I'm super excited for, it's like a few years down the road, is just being a coach. Like I can't wait to coach like basketball, baseball, softball, whatever it is. Like I super look forward to that because I know that was like some of the best times of my life when you're like 12 to 16 or whatever and you're playing sports all the time, like I just feel like it'd be so fun to be the coach. So I'm waiting for that. So in that Factora program I did, one thing they had us do is write a letter to ourselves like it was 10 years in the future.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was like one of those things where you like really think about like what you actually want in your life. And that was one thing I wrote about was like, I'm coaching, I'm loving it. And I think my idea is like having 3 kids spread out over time or something like that. And just like kind of like what I want to do with my career. I just like love that my job can be a work from home job where I'll be able to have that flexibility to like get off early to go to games and stuff like that.
Be a part of your kids' lives. Yeah.
And I think that's like a really big important thing for me is I want to have that balance. Like I would never take a job where I have to work 60 hours a week. Like not ever, it would never be worth the money for me.
Yeah, it's not worth that work-life balance from there. Yeah. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense because you're sacrificing a lot more than just money. Like when you lose out on that time, because that's so valuable in the child's life. Yeah.
We're trying to figure out what my husband wants to do after he gets out of the army because he has
career-wise. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, you could just be a stay-at-home dad. I'll just work from home. You can be a stay-at-home dad. So you can spend time with the kids, and they would love that. And maybe do like he's really into like gunsmithing accessories and stuff like that. So if he had like his own little side business or he's doing something like that, I mean, for us is like. I don't feel like our goals are not to like have this extreme amount of wealth ever.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like, we want financial security and be able to like raise our kids in a stress-free home due to having like finances figured out.
Yeah.
But not to the point like we were just saying where it takes over your life and all you are doing is working and you're not living.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely agree with that because there's more to wealth and health or like a healthy lifestyle than just like the amount of capital that you have. And in essence that, like you said earlier, sometimes like just making more money doesn't necessarily mean that you're having more life because of that. If anything, you have less because there's only a finite amount of time that you have. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That I think that work life, I don't even say like work life balance because I think I was talking with a good friend of mine. And he was like, and he has a kid, and he's like, yeah, it's not really work-life balance because that's kind of like saying that your job kind of sucks, but then you balance it out with life, or your life kind of sucks, so you balance it out with work. I look at
that's a good point.
Yeah, it's like I look at it more like it's like a work-life harmony because it's like working together in that kind of sense. It's like then because like you feel good at your work, and then you feel good like in your life, and feeling good at your life, you feel good with your work. Like from there, I'm like, so yeah,
that's
that
really
makes a lot
good.
of sense.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before, phrasing it that way, and that like just sounds better, like happier.
No, exactly. I think that's the thing. There's like a synergy in your lifestyle because you can't make it's like no matter what you do, you can't separate like you can't separate your life in like boxes like that. Like nope, work box, nothing else like is going through here.
Oh it all intertwines.
Yes.
We had this quarterly meeting and they were talking about like burnout and like maybe you don't realize how distracted your mind actually can be, especially like during this like year and the craziness and all that. But it's like really, so if you can't just separate them, you can't be like, all right, I'm working now and then I'm living later. Like
it's all together. It all happens. All happens at the same time. Like from there, I think that's real important, and it's like, and I think that's the thing too. I think, especially like when we're talking about like raising or talking about like a child like getting their values. It's like they got to figure out like what's valuable like for them. It's like what is kind of frozen again.
What I just said, or are you frozen?
No, it
Are you frozen?
froze.
Or you can hear me? Oh,
I
okay.
can hear you now. I heard what you just said, but
Oh.
I just paused because like, oh wow, froze. But it's okay. Yeah.
Dang it, I forgot what I was gonna say
Ah, it's
now.
probably a great thought. Lost to the ether. Because what was I saying?
I'll,
I was
re-
talking. Yeah. Did
I'll
you remember
remember
it?
at some point. No, I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Okay, what were you just saying though?
No, because we're talking about like getting a value system, like for
Mhm.
a kid, and like figuring out like, okay, what is actually important, like to that. And I think just I think because you were saying, oh, do you just like show that, lead by example? Do you tell them? Is it like a happy balance? I think it kind of is, because I think sometimes while action is important, and then like they'll follow your actions, maybe like learning the reasoning behind it will like help
Mhm.
them reinforce those actions, like from there, reinforce those actions and beliefs. So it'll
Yeah, I
be
remember what I was gonna say, and
okay.
it falls along with that.
Yeah.
It seems like different generations have different values,
Oh, for
just
sure.
in general. You know, like
Yeah.
you think of the difference between like a Gen X and Boomer and a
Yeah.
Millennial. You can definitely see the different values that they
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see what this like my generation of child,
Yes.
what their value. I mean, their world is going to be so crazy different than
Oh
what
no.
even we're experiencing right now.
Yeah. No. Exactly. And I think that's one thing too. It's like while while our children will never be able to experience like how we look at life, at the same point we'll never be able to experience like how they look at life, because we are
Right.
generations apart, like from there. So that,
We were talking the other day about like, cause he was talking about like my husband. He's like, I used to just go run on the streets. My parents were like, all right, be back at 6 or whatever. And I'd be like 4 years old or 5 or whatever, and just like out with kids.
yeah.
Okay, maybe not 5. He said it was not young, but maybe like 10 or 12 or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But like how parents used to be like, all right, cool, go ahead and come back. And it's like, I couldn't think about doing that today. I don't know if it's because all of the exposure to human trafficking or things like that, but you just don't see that as like a social norm anymore. But now you see the opposite, where you have like extreme helicopter parents, and
Yeah.
I don't want to be that either. I want to be able to give my child like the freedom and the independence, but how do you do that safely in a world where
Yeah.
there's child abduction all
You're
the
like, oh
time?
no. Yeah. Weighing out those options, like from there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, for sure. That's like, I know it's like that balance of like safety, freedom, what is how do you make that, like what's like what takes priority. I think that is pretty interesting in terms of that.
I mean, we're going through a good test of that right now with safety versus freedoms and priorities, like
sure.
with COVID.
Yeah.
You know, at what expense are you gonna remove your or let your freedoms go for the cost of safety?
Yes. It's like, or
It's insane.
how much is your safety, is the safety worth, like for that?
Mm-hmm.
And to that regards too, just like, I mean, talking about different generations, like what is, because the world's constantly changing. Like think about this stuff that we've seen in like 10 years, like, oh man, what's the next 10 years gonna look like for
I know.
like
Freaks me out a little
which
bit.
and I think that's if anything, that's like a parent thing, like to freak out, like from there, because there's a lot of things out of your control, and you're not,
Yeah.
it's not just yourself that you're like looking out for. So
Yeah. So 2010. Okay. Think I would have been in middle school or junior high. And those were when we had flip phones.
yes, yep, I remember flip phones. Yeah.
Like there weren't smartphones back then.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to think, I mean, with technology too, just exponentially increasing and growing.
Mm-hmm.
10 years, if this was 2010 and we're 2020, and then like 2030 is like crazy up here or something like that. It's like, you don't know what to expect in the future anyways, but
it's hard to
it's just
predict.
mind-boggling.
No, that's the thing. As you start looking at the variables, you're like, whoa, it can get like caught up. But I think you're talking about the letter to to yourself 10 years from now, and you're looking forward to being part of your children's lives. From there, being a coach. Is there like, I guess in that regard, let's flip that question. Like, let's say like you're writing a letter to to yourself 10 years ago, like what would you tell yourself, like from there, from through your flip phone text message? Yeah.
What? Oh my gosh, who was I like 10 years
Yeah,
ago?
10 years
So,
ago, right?
okay, I
Yeah.
was 14, playing softball.
Nightmares.
I know.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I had wisdom back in that day, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Had wisdom, or would you take wisdom like from like my older self? What the hell? Yeah.
I guess if I flipped it, like if I could tell myself
Yeah.
now, from what I know now to my 14-year-old self,
Yeah.
like I would say just not to get so like hungover little things,
Mhm.
like especially with like softball, boys, whatever, like when you think it's the end of the world, it's not,
Yeah.
I think back then I just really needed confidence
Yeah.
and some kind of affirmations and stuff that I didn't feel like I received,
For
because
sure.
that's not the way that my parents would give love,
Yeah.
like by like telling you words of,
Words of affirmation.
yeah, at
Yeah.
least I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they always like, were supportive in a way, but I have a terrible memory, so I can't even remember what people say to me. Like if
Yeah.
I say something to my husband, I forget what I said right after.
Yeah.
But definitely that, just like be confident in yourself. I mean, that's a pretty like cliche thing to say, but confidence really takes you far in life.
Oh, no, oh, no, for sure. And I think in essence, that's probably the same thing you should like think about teaching to children, like from
Mm-hmm.
there, because it's like, because that's kind of the way I look at things. It's like, okay, what would I? Because the way I look at teaching martial arts, like, okay, what did I wish, like I would, like someone would have told me when I started this thing. I'm looking like, okay, what do I wish like I had known when I was starting this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that's that's typically the way I would look about it in terms of like in terms of teaching, or in terms of like what values like to get from there. It's like we got to hear somehow, but they gotta learn. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like for you, I mean, just remembering like the classes that I was part of yours, the different characters and the different kind of athletes are all going to understand something so different,
Yes.
and get it at different speeds, or like think about it in completely different ways. So I think one goal for me that I'm thinking about right now is like figuring out what my child's love language is, and
Yeah.
like the way they receive it versus the way they give it.
Yeah.
Because I think that would have been useful for my relationship with my parents back in the day.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. 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 No, it's funny because like I came from like a real, like a real like Asian immigrant household. So like love language, just do what I
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not that.
Go make the rice
Yeah.
and do it.
Yeah. Exactly. So like I think like, man, what way do I want to go about it? Like from there. So
Do you think you'll spank your kids?
I think I will.
Yeah.
I know I will actually. Yeah.
A little physical discipline
Yeah.
just makes you tough.
Makes you because I feel like you're gonna be like physically rambunctious anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
that's just
Yeah.
that's just how it goes.
I mean, there's definitely a fine line between abusing your child and trying to like get them teach them some discipline, and that there's consequences for your actions, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know, every article you see nowadays, like, oh, it's been scientifically proven that spanking only causes trauma or whatever. And I'm like,
I was like, what? I was never traumatized by my parents, like from there, or abused in that kind of way. I was like, no, I was a dumb kid, and I wouldn't have learned any other way. Like from there, that's
if
how I look at it.
anything,
Yeah.
the kids that are the most brattiest are the ones that didn't get spanked.
Exactly. They didn't realize the consequences of their action. That's how I see it.
Yes,
like,
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's the way I look at it too. So yeah, and also just knowing that, well, whatever kids I have, they're probably gonna inherit whatever physical qualities. So they'll be tough enough to take it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to like get them barefoot walking now when they're young.
Yeah, they'll have like Bronte's natural power athlete genes. Oh, that's funny. No.
Yeah, her big hands.
Yeah, huge.
She has the cute little tiniest hands.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, that's well, cool. We can start wrapping up. Thanks for talking to us, Morgan. Well, I guess us, but like, thanks for talking.
No,
Yeah.
it was really fun. It was really nice catching up with you, and it was a fun conversation.
I know for sure. Any I guess like any parting words, or I don't know. It's not like you have like yeah, talking to the audience out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Maybe I'll have more wisdom once I actually have a baby.
Once it actually happens, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll come back on maybe after baby's born or something like that.
Once the Lyme has been delivered.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, so this is what I thought parenting was.
Yeah.
And this is what it is actually.
Remember that last episode where I was talking about stuff? Well, yeah, but I feel that's like been every episode that we've had when you're like, all right, this is it, fighting's the way, and then we had another like, you know what, looking back, probably not that fighting thing.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? I remember talking about it last time I was on the podcast that like that was my next chapter, was wanting to start a family and like do that. So
I think you did. I want to say like now that you say that, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you said that.
Yeah. So now that it's here, it's like, okay, then it's like the next chapter. So it's really fun for me to come back on and maybe rewatch these at some point in my life and like really be able to see the change in me through the duration of the Pancreation Philosophy podcast.
Oh no, for sure. Because I was watching like some of the early episodes and I was like, oh man, look at me. Well, looking the same, but just like thinking, like, oh man, what's like that's the thing. Because like with me, I don't really see the difference in myself, but like I can definitely see the difference in the people that I had on, like from there. Like you see the like you, like Irving, like Vincent, like all those guys, and now what's like happening to them now? It is like a where are they now? Like
I know, it's crazy.
Thing. Like from there, yeah.
So when was that first?
Ooh, I want to say, was it 2018?
Like
I want to say
September?
Maybe even before. Here, let me take a look now, because let's see.
I feel like it was before my first fight with AMC.
Yeah, because it was, let's see.
Or I was starting to get ready for it.
Yeah. Never mind. Because you first saw it came on episode 5. This was 2018.
Wow.
Yeah, that's that. I know.
2 years ago. It doesn't seem like it should be that long, but but
a lot has changed.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah, just a little bit of change. Yeah, like from there.
Just like I was going like in this patch of my life, and then just like 90 off to like a different person.
Yeah. No, it's true. Just like seeing, it is like an interesting benchmark, like from there. Well, I think the interesting one is just seeing. And especially in terms of like, because like your life has changed like in 2 years, but then seeing, how we just had Ender like filming the stuff from there, and then how it's like progress from that to that now. So yeah.
One question I have: how is James? Is he like training, or is it just been hard because of COVID?
I know James has been training, and I know that so he's got something on the line. Or something on the horizon that's like should be either like late this year or early next year. So that's another one. That's another one of the early. I was like, yes, got him on record, and now he can't leave. Or no, well, I guess he can leave, but now I was always the one that did the first interview, like from there. So yeah, I think James got something going on for him, and then
good. Yeah. I want to see him succeed and be able to fight more in his career.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's like, no, it's cool. It's definitely, it's been a great experience. And then, thanks again for sharing. Like for sharing your life. with us and other people, but it's it's definitely like a time capsule kind of thing, right? And it's frozen. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Morgan.
All right. Thanks, Atola. Have a good night.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.